welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Zoe. If you're new here, and you're welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling you how you can get started as a virtual assistant, as a beginner VA, or as someone trying to transition into the VA field, or if you're someone that just needs more guidance on becoming a successful virtual assistant. So if you're that person, all you need to do is keep on watching and also subscribe if you haven't. So I have my board here. I already listed out what we are going to be looking at. My board is a little bit big. So we have the introduction, VA types, skills, services, and rates. I don't know if you can really see this, but that's basically what we are going to be looking at in this video. Let me drop my board. Okay, so firstly, you need to understand who a virtual assistant is. I know a lot of persons talk about becoming a VA, but do people really understand what it means to become a virtual assistant? I don't really know. So a virtual assistant is basically someone who handles administrative tasks, who handles scheduling tasks, who handles appointment setting tasks, who handles tasks basically, right? I'm trying to explain it in the easiest way. So a VA is basically someone who renders assistance. A VA is basically someone who renders assistance virtually or online. As the name implies, virtual assistant. The virtual is basically online, and the assistance is basically the services you offer to these clients or these companies that you get to work for in the future. So a VA is like an office assistant, just that an office assistant goes to work physically, goes to work daily, goes to a physical office, but a VA works from home. So a virtual assistant basically needs to be someone creative, someone proactive, someone unique, because you get to handle every single thing that needs assistance for the clients or the company you get to work for. So in summary, a virtual assistant is someone who provides assistance, as easy as that is. It could be appointment setting assistance, it could be research assistance, it could be booking assistance, it could be email management assistance, depending on what you are employed for and who you are employed by. Now, there are different kinds of virtual assistants. I always love to tell people this. In as much as you want to become a VA, you need to understand what it means to be a virtual assistant. You cannot say you are a virtual assistant without specializing in a particular field, right? That's why a lot of persons are still unemployed, because they are not niching down. Some persons just end up saying, I am a VA, without specializing or highlighting on the kind of VA they are. Now, the term virtual assistant is a generic term. How someone can say, I am an engineer, and then you ask the person, what kind of engineer are you? What do you specialize in? That's the same way it sees when it comes to being a virtual assistant. You need to be able to specialize in one particular field. Now, there are different kinds of VAs, but I'm going to be listing just the major ones, and then you can basically choose from these ones and decide on the kind of VA you want to become. Now, the first one is the administrative virtual assistant. This is the most popular. Everyone on TikTok, everyone on IG, everyone on YouTube wants to be an administrative VA. It's not bad, but the field is saturated. Obviously, you get to do simple tasks like scheduling, managing, organizing, and all of that. So it's still a very good field, but honestly, it is saturated. We have other fields like the social media VA. Now, this particular field is getting saturated, but then there's still hope. There's still hope, at least for this year, 2025. So you get to carry out the same tasks as a VA, but you basically get You basically have expanded responsibilities, just like the name implies, social media VA. So you get to handle social media management and still handle your responsibilities as a VA. Number three, we have the influencer virtual assistants. This is a really, really juicy field that a lot of persons are not looking into. Do you know that you can become the VA for someone like Oprah, or you can become the VA for someone like Kim Kardashian? Because these persons, in as much as they have their personal assistants, they still need someone to handle the work virtually, the workload virtually. So some of those influencers, some of this mini influencers, big influencers, celebrities, musicians, they basically sometimes source for influencer VA, like people that would basically handle their scheduling, their booking, their managing online, while their personal assistant physically does the physical jobs, if you get what I mean. Now we also have the medical VA. Now for this particular field, you need to be knowledgeable about the medical field, because you might get to work as the VA for a company, a pharmaceutical company, or a doctor or a nurse, and you basically need to have a bit of knowledge when it comes to the medical field. We also have the legal VA. The legal VA, you still need to have at least the knowledge of law, basically the legal field, just so you're not so lost when you're given tasks and responsibilities. We have the research VA. This is also a very juicy branch, a juicy field. You get to do simple research work and you get paid for doing that. I'm also going to list out some other fields, some other branches in the caption, but these are just some types of virtual assistants. These are some types, these are some kinds, and you can basically just choose the kind of VA you want to become, because as a beginner, you cannot say you are just a virtual assistant. You need to specialize, you need to niche down. What kind of VA are you? What kind of services do you want to offer? What kind of clients do you want to work for? What kind of company do you want to work in? So you need to be able to niche down, you need to be able to specialize, you need to be able to choose a branch under the virtual assistant globe, and you focus on that. I think I forgot to mention a couple of other ones. We have the community VA, community manager VA, the real estate VA, a lot of VAs. Everybody needs a virtual assistant at this point, honestly. So basically, you can work as a VA in any industry. So it's also good you specialize and you pick a particular industry you want to work in or you want to work for. Let's talk about the skills you should have. Apart from the technical skills and the knowledge you need to have of setting tools, you need to have some soft skills as a virtual assistant. You need to have some soft skills as a VA, soft skills like excellent communication, soft skills like management, problem solving, time management, confidentiality, professionalism, because it's more of like you are handling the world of that person online. There are different worlds. We have the physical world and we have the virtual world. So as a VA, you're handling the virtual world of the clients you're working for. So if you don't have some setting skills, it's impossible for you to perform efficiently and effectively. That's why as a virtual assistant, you must possess these skills: excellent communication, problem solving, management, time management, confidentiality, a lot, integrity, very important, integrity also. So that's very, very important, right, as a virtual assistant. Now for your rates, whenever I'm talking about rates when it comes to becoming a VA, I always like to tell people this: it depends on how you see yourself. That's the only way you can set the perfect rate that works for you. Some persons might charge as low as $5 an hour, as low as $3 an hour. Some persons might do that, and that's because they feel like they are probably not good enough or they need to raise their standards more. But personally, I think as a virtual assistant, you should charge based on the work you are given. That's what I always advise people to do. So if you are given a lot of responsibilities, you are entitled to charging as high as $20 an hour. So sometimes I think it depends on the services you are to render, and if it's also a contract job, the time you're going to be working for, the hours you're going to be working for. You basically need to put all of those factors into consideration before you charge. That's why I also advise people not to put their rates on their portfolio, right? You can discuss your rates during an interview or during a live call or something, because most times if you put your rates on your portfolio, it might be even be lesser than what the client intends on paying you. So your rates should be something you discuss with your client. It should be something you charge based on the services you're going to be rendering and the responsibilities you are going to be given. I'm also going to be creating another video on how you can get started as a virtual assistant. Now we've looked at the concepts, the types, the kinds, the skills, the rates. Now I'm gonna create another video telling you other things you need to know about becoming a virtual assistant and how you can fully get started. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please like, share, subscribe, comment. I really appreciate that, and see you in my next video.